Time now to know what's on the front pages of Nigerian newspapers. Lawyer and social development advocate Jide Ologun and Tunji Abdulhamid, a lawyer and public affairs analyst, are here in the studio with me to look at the papers this morning. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you for joining us. All right, we head straight to the papers now, and I begin with the Nigerian News Direct. NLNG generates $110 billion in 22 years. MD seals gas sales purchase agreement with 3 firms, accounts for 40% of domestic LPG demand. Let's move now to the leadership newspaper. JUSUN strike, appeal court adopts Zoom sessions as cases pile up. SANS lament, say situation tragic. Federal government asks striking workers to resume as union gives conditions. All right, we move now to the front page of the Daily Times. Obasanjo Sultan orders to meet over national crisis. Obasanjo Sultan orders to meet over national crisis. We'll move now to the front page of the Blueprint. Twitter ban controversy. Serap, 176 concerned Nigerians head to ECOWAS court. Serap, 176 concerned Nigerians head to ECOWAS court. You find details of that story on the front or the pages of the Blueprint. We move to the Nation newspaper now. MAN, LCCI, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, laments slide in power supply to firms, homes. World Bank worries about energy deficit. Business, households, groan. You find details of all of this story on the pages of the Nation newspaper. To the Daily Trust newspaper now. OPC kills community leader. 3 herders in Oyo. Settlement raised in Ogun. I am not behind Igongon attacks. Evicted Sarkin Fulani. Allow Amotekun to carry AK-47. Makinde. IPOB killed 128 soldiers, policemen, army. All right, you find details of the story on the pages of the Daily Trust. To the Daily Sun now. Buhari, Obasanjo, Abdulsalami, others meet over insecurity to discuss, find solution to security challenges, put elected leaders on their toes. On Oyekan. To the front page of the Punch newspaper. Twitter ban violation. CAN warns as AGF vows to try Adeboye VIP offenders. We are definitely on it to ensure the prosecution of all violators, declares Malami's office. Adeboye order clerics. VIP's prosecution will compound Nigeria's problems, CAN tells federal government. House of Representatives split, temper rise over FG's ban. PDP lawmakers stage walkout. To the Guardian newspaper now. Federal government talks tough, insists Twitter ban is indefinite. Malami logs into suspended site to deactivate account. Gbajabiamila orders probe into propriety of ban. Senate silent as PDP rep stage walkout, insist on reversal. CSOs defy federal government order, say it will continue Twitter use. Serap takes Buhari to ECOWAS court over suspension. APC urges talented Nigerians to develop homegrown alternatives. To the Vanguard newspaper now. Lai Mohammed on defiance of Twitter ban. Malami will decide prosecution of Adeboye Kumi orders. Says there will be no human rights if Nigeria is on fire. Rep summon Lai Mohammed over Twitter suspension. PDP rep stage walkout as Gbajabiamila overrules demand. Will continue to tweet PDP reps. Dare Malami to arrest them. Will meet in court, Dar Communications tells NBC. Serap drags Buhari before ECOWAS court over Twitter ban in Nigeria. Well, finally, on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, reps to probe legality of government's ban on Twitter. Tell IGP to go after perpetrators of Igongon killings. Serap 176 Nigerians take Buhari government to ECOWAS court. Well, gentlemen, let's quickly begin with the story on the front page of the leadership newspaper. talking about the 2-month-old JUSUN strike, Judiciary Staff Union Workers strike, and the appeal courts, according to the leadership newspaper, has adopted Zoom sessions as cases pile up, and the federal government has asked the striking workers to resume, and the unions are giving conditions of that they want governors to begin payment. It said an agreement has been made, but the governors rather are yet to implement, and they want to see the governors implement this payment. Then they can, call off their strike. Senior advocates of Nigeria are lamenting, saying the situation is tragic. But then, gentlemen, you have been monitoring these issues. I wonder what you are making of this development. Let me begin with you, Judy.
It's quite interesting, and coincidentally, there are several issues that are clamping down on attention being given to the JUSUN strike. And of course, you can make reference to it as a stampede to the judiciary. Actually, I was in Ibadan yesterday, and when I saw the High Court of Oyo State overgrown with weed, I was really, really sad. It didn't appear like an existing or functional location. And like the group is saying, here again we are testing integrity of governance. You've made promises, you've negotiated, but implement. Is it rocket science? We are talking about constitutional provisions. We are not importing it or saying we need to amend the constitution to allow for this financial autonomy. But here we are. We are not respecting the spirit of the constitution. So who now makes the drivers of the governance process to respect the rule of law? It's a very serious, and right now you're talking about cases piling up in the Court of Appeal, and I can let you know that even before this industrial action, if you have any matter in the Supreme Court, I don't want to tell you the year that the Supreme Court is attending to. So already we had this issue of cases that have piled up. And what is the impact on the economy of the nation? Above that, what is the impact on attracting foreign direct investments? Because investors will profile your country, particularly on the platform of respect for rule of law, ease of doing business, and other parameters. So, but then, like I started, we have found ourselves in a hydra-headed crisis situation that we really don't even know which one to focus on first. But then, back to the government, your essence is to ensure, an effective management of the nation for prosperity.
Tunji, this issue of autonomy, a lot of persons have been questioning the governors, saying, why is it so difficult for them to implement it? These are the same people that are clamoring, that the government looks at practicing true fiscal federalism. They have even, at some point, the Senate asked them to go back to their states and practice these things practically. Let them be the first persons who are pushing in their states. And now we're still seeing these issues here. I wonder what your reaction is.
I am not surprised. I'm not at all. I'm only embarrassed. That's just it. That we are even discussing or negotiating implementation of the Constitution. And if you remember, this is one of the reasons why I said our problem is not constitutional amendment. Our problem is not is not about new constitution. It's about the enforcement and the implementation of the Constitution. The clear provision of the Constitution are not being enforced the way they should be enforced. If you change the Constitution, will you force people to enforce it? How do you ensure that the enforcement is complied with? So when we blame our problems on the Constitution, we're just dodging the issue.
The real issue.
The real issue is not about the Constitution itself. In fact, there are so many countries without Constitution. There are so many countries without any written document. Yet they are doing well. So if we implement our Constitution the way they are, even 40%, we'll be able to move on. So as far as I'm concerned, it's unfortunate that we're discussing, negotiating enforcement of the provision of the Constitution. And it's unfortunate as well, and I'm also embarrassed that Court of Appeal is sitting JUSUN. I share their sentiment. I share their sympathy. But it's not fair.
Really?
This fight is for them. And they are frustrating it. That's why I see it. And the cases they are doing now, it's not even general masses cases. It's not cases that has to do with you and I or ordinary Nigerians. It's either political cases or cases related, affecting an influential person in the country, or cases being handled by an influential member of NBA. That is what they are doing. As far as I'm concerned, because I've not seen any ordinary man in Nigeria that say the Court of Appeal or Supreme Court called me, say there's a case tomorrow for JUSUN because of the strike. They should not be doing that. They are frustrating the strike and they are fighting on their behalf. That is why we are not seeing results in this country. We frustrate ourselves. The federal, the state, it's not only the state that is to be blamed when it comes to autonomy. I'm not aware the Federal Court of Appeals and the Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court are also autonomy. They may be deceiving themselves. I'm not being deceived. They can say it. That's why I said the CJ of Lagos State said the same thing. Are they autonomous? No, they don't have the autonomy as far as I'm concerned. The Rivers State government is saying, is talking tough that it has complied with autonomy, and yet it's threatening about not paying salary. If they are autonomy, how will we be talking about salary? Salary will not be with you.
Right.
If they are truly autonomous, if you are truly autonomy, they will not be asked. You will not be the one to pay their salary. So there is no autonomy in Rivers State as I'm concerned, or in any other state. You may be paying some money to them as at when due, whatever. That does not mean that's what they are fighting for. What they are fighting for, that the idea of them coming to you to even ask for their money should not be there. It should be in their pocket. It should be in their account. So I think it's unfortunate that we're discussing all these things, and I'm not surprised. Like I said, this is where we are in this country, and this is why we see most of those in government, they see government as personal thing, and they only implement it when it affects their personal interest.
All right. Now let's quickly move to something else on the papers this morning, something that has been generating reaction across the country since it happened, talking about the Twitter ban, and there has been those who have been said to have violated the ban. Now, this is the issue. The government said that Nigerians instituted a ban on the use of Twitter, the platform, but some churches and some persons were found to still be tweeting after the government made that declaration. And the Attorney General of the Federation had said that anyone found violating that ban will be prosecuted. And we see now on the front page of the Punch newspaper, CAN warning the Attorney General of the Federation to not try offenders. One of the offenders was Adeboye, Pastor Adeboye, and we also saw Deeper Life. And Deeper Life came out to say that they have churches across the world, and so they make use of their platform. Now, the question that people are asking is that if using the use of Twitter is a crime in Nigeria, because the National Assembly is yet to even make a statement. That's the Senate now. Yesterday, some members of the House of Representatives in the opposition staged a walkout with regards to this issue. And they are also looking to probe into the legality of the ban on Twitter. Let's get also your reaction to this, how we can begin to try something, an issue that is not a crime.
I just want to advise that we should be proactive as a people, because I don't envy Malami, because I am still searching for the law that will enable him to prosecute. And here we have a generic case, and I mean, having read the argument of the other side, that for example, the Redeemed Christian Church of God has presence in about 170 countries. So you can tweet from anywhere, and by virtue of institutional effectiveness, you may not even be the one tweeting here, all right? And again, if you claim that you have banned Twitter, what led to it? Because Twitter, manifested the implementation of a regulation in respect of a tweet that is likely to cause violence in the society or apprehension. So our reaction also does not comply with the expectation of proactive crisis management in public relations. Because after doing that, you are now having a stakeholders engagement to discuss issues that are involved. And you would have expected that the foreign envoys would have supported you, though Trump has supported in a way. But they are advising you. And I can let us know that Twitter is a global business concern that is enabling businesses and creating wealth across the globe. So even if you are going to respond, we were taught in public relations that your rejoinder should not be such that we further damage what you are trying to damage control. So here we are now, and it should be a very difficult thing, knowing that even under our constitution we have the presumption of innocence. That is, even if we come up with a law to prosecute the alleged those who have breached the regulations, and they are presumed innocent until that case is proved beyond all reasonable doubt. So how do you do that? And finally, even Malami himself has been identified as one of those breaching the regulation, because he allegedly deactivated his account on Twitter. How did he do that? By gaining access into Twitter. So I don't want us to be subject to ridicule, and I quite agree that as a sovereign entity we have the license to regulate our environment. But while doing that, let's make effective consultation and not just being reactive. So, and I call that governance emotional intelligence. And we have very brilliant minds within the government system. I mean, our vice president is a senior advocate of Nigeria,
right,
that can advise the government on how to approach issues like this.
Let's get your take on this matter.
I think it's unfortunate that the government is taking the step it's taking. As far as I'm concerned, the government is trying to take over back to the Stone Age, where
how so?
When you think that will provide, you see, we are complaining about not having our economy not being bad or whatever, and we are taking steps that will further down the economy. You ban things that are giving money to youths. You ban Twitter that people are making money from when there's no employment. You see, that's what, and like he said, I am not aware of any law that gives the government the power to ban Twitter, to prosecute anybody. Even I also learned that they are trying to ban WhatsApp and other social media platform. I don't know the basis on the basis that they should come and register as a company in Nigeria. It's not compulsory. I've checked the Company Alignment Act. There's nowhere in that company alignment that made it compulsory for you to register your business in Nigeria. So they want to do that. They have to first of all go and amend the Company Alignment Act to be able to enforce that provision of the law that they must come and register before they can operate or do business in Nigeria. They are not aware of any law in that regard that says you must register in the country before you can operate as a business person in Nigeria.
Okay, we'll keep our fingers crossed to see what happens at the end of the day. We'll leave the conversation here now. Jide Oluogun, Tunji Abdulhamid, thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you very much.
Nigeria.